All right, so not wanting to say much there, the EFF's Vuyani Pambo, but clearly a big point was being made because of all the publicity around it. Let's discuss it now. I'm joined now by a political analyst from the Tshwane University of Technology, Levi Ndau. Levi, thank you very much for joining us. You know, it struck me as a little disingenuous that the EFF's Vuyani Pambo was saying, you know, it was just tea, what's the big deal? The reality is that the invitation was issued on social media and accepted on social media. Julius Malema arrived in a helicopter. They knew that the media was going to be there. So, first of all, what do you make of this very public tea?
Well, good afternoon. Good afternoon to the viewers at home. There are a few things that I make out of it. Firstly, would be to take what the spokesperson of the EFF said when he said it was just tea. Actually, even in the invitations, the invitation only stressed that it is only just going to be tea. These people might not have seen each other for quite some time. And remember, Julius Malema and Jacob Zuma have been friends for some time. Maybe they wanted to catch up. But number two, we need to look at the timing of the invitation for the meeting. The invitation is coming at a time when former President Zuma has just made an indication that he's going to defy the Concord ruling and not attend the Zondo Commission. This then will take us to the next 2 points, which will be that, number one, maybe based on the vulnerability of former President Zuma, he should be getting advices from every quarter or every corner of society. Maybe Mr. Malema wanted to go there to give his support and maybe to say, if you are defying the Constitutional Court ruling, then you have our support and we're actually going to make sure that whatever you're planning succeeds. Or the last one would be that because this matter is in the public eye and the ANC that is divided seem to be reluctant to address this matter, even though they've made a pronouncement, Mr. Malema would love to be seen as someone who is saving our constitution, to say, I am taking it upon myself as Julius Malema to go and persuade President Zuma to go to the Zondo Commission. And that will be a big achievement on the part of Julius Malema and his party, the EFF.
Which might explain why it's been done in public, because of course it could have all been done privately. But if Malema becomes the man who convinces Jacob Zuma to appear before the Commission, that's surely huge political points. Alternatively, the EFF in KwaZulu-Natal apparently released a statement saying that the two were discussing joining forces in KwaZulu-Natal because, of course, Jacob Zuma is still very, very popular in his home province. Do you think that could at all be in the offing?
Anything is possible. Former President Jacob Zuma still seems to be very energetic, and I think he still enjoys to be in the public space. And as a politician, he would not resist any form of invitation from any other grouping, particularly political parties, because it is clear that he does not seem to be very comfortable now within the ranks of his party, the ANC. But another very interesting part of this meeting is the individuals who accompanied, especially former President Zuma, to this meeting. These are individuals that are well known to be supportive of former President Zuma, and the individuals who are well known to be against the current president of the ANC and the state. So obviously, there could be something happening, and unfortunately, they don't seem to be prepared to come into the open to divulge the details of the meeting. But there is something quite interesting that might have taken place in that meeting.
One of the journalists at the impromptu post-tea media briefing, at which very little was heard, suggested that the reason not much was being said by Vuyani Panbo is that perhaps the meeting did not go as expected. Do you think that could be the case?
It might be a possibility. Remember, there could be an element of distrust between Julius Malema and Jacob Zuma on the basis of the fact that when they parted ways, they parted very bitterly. And the treatment that followed thereafter.
I think our picture has frozen, but Levi Ndoa, political analyst at Tshwane University of Technology, making the point there that there is history between these two men. And of course, oh, you're back again. Let's see if we can hear you. Levi, I missed you. You froze in that last answer. You were telling us about the history between the two men, that they used to be close allies, and then, of course, they fell out, and that might account for a possible unsuccessful meeting. Just tell us what you were saying.
Indeed. The follow-ups that happened between the two created a situation where these people acted like real enemies. Each time Jacob Zuma goes to parliament, he would always get very strong resistance from the economic freedom fighters led by Julius Malema. So obviously, Jacob Zuma cannot be very relaxed and trust anything that comes from Julius Malema. But also at the same time, Julius Malema, a politician as he is, he would love to be seen as someone who is coming in as a savior in this constitutional crisis that we're actually facing. And indeed, if he can succeed in persuading Jacob Zuma to go to the Zondo Commission, that will actually make a very huge mark on the part of the EFF, and it will be seen as if Julius Malema is able to persuade the person who has actually defied his own party, defied the Concord, but is being able to be persuaded by Julius Malema. And that will make a very huge positive on the part of the EFF and Julius Malema.
Thank you so much for your time this evening. Appreciate it. That was political analyst Levi Ndoa from the Tshwane University of Technology. Still to